First question is coming in from Lil Frog. What player in the draft this year do you think will be a bust?
Ooh, this is tough. So usually
Justin Fields.
3 quarterbacks work out in the first round. There are probably going to be 5 quarterbacks taken. So I think Justin Fields has the potential to bust. For a quarterback, it's all about where you go. So one of these quarterbacks, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, they're going to go to a horrific destination like what happened to Sam Darnold going to the New York Jets, and that's going to ruin their career. We see that so often with these quarterbacks. So I think Justin Fields is a good candidate. Maybe one of the offensive linemen potentially too. Sometimes they can just get plagued by injuries.
Wide receivers is also
wide receivers too, because everybody becomes so obsessed with the 40 time. Mitch goes Justin Fields. I think that's a solid option. One of the quarterbacks for me, and I think that 3 work out and 2 of the 5 are actually good who get drafted in the first round.
Super chat coming in from Burnin' Spade. So he's sending a $10 super chat. So Chase, I'm going to need y'all to answer this one. Falcons trade 2022 pick to Bills for Lee Smith. The restructured contracts for both Matt Ryan and Fowler. What's their cap and who can they afford? All right, that's a tough question. So
well, I got it. So Matt Ryan restructured his contract, and his contract for the upcoming season has gone down from about like $42 million or somewhere in that neighborhood. I've never been good at math, to about $27 million. So that lessens the cap number for the Falcons heading into this season. But again, it's important to note that with the cap situation, with all of the financials, with all of these roster transactions, like that number is going to be interchanging. But with Matt Ryan restructuring his contract, it helps the Falcons cap number here in 2021. And it also potentially might take them out of the running for a quarterback in the first round. And there were a lot of rumors that Atlanta could possibly target one, but Matt Ryan is probably going to be with Atlanta for the next 2 or 3 years.
So I had to spin the roulette wheel and had to take a sip of beer. Burnin' Spades, appreciate the super chat. Every $10 super chat, we will go ahead and spin the roulette wheel. All right, I want you to name a player that you guys think is going to get traded. I'll give some shout-outs here to the live people as well. So name a player that y'all think could honestly go ahead and get traded. I see some OBJs in there. I see an Orlando Brown thrown in there as well. Somebody said Allen Robinson, maybe a tag and trade. Cool. Name a player that you think will be traded. All right, y'all, if you got a question, subscribe and join our live shows. It's 100% free, and we're an interactive YouTube channel. So go down and hit that big red button that says subscribe. We got 1,663 people watching. We're going to be live for a little bit longer here, so go ahead and hit that big red button that says subscribe. This one's coming in from Sam Boyle. Can't trust anybody with that name. Thoughts on Dante Fowler taking a pay cut? I'll tell you what, I actually like the fact that he ended up doing this. It helps out Atlanta a lot. So he signed a 3-year, $48 million deal with Atlanta last offseason. He was supposed to make $18.54 million in 2021. However, Fowler will now make $13 million next season. So, obviously, it's a pretty interesting situation here, but I'm glad that he ultimately did that. But, yes, Dante Fowler is going to take a pay cut. I thought it was a smart thing to do.
Yeah, me too. And this is a pretty good player. Look, I feel like a lot of people don't realize this. NFL contracts are full of fluff. So you might see a player signed for 3 years, $50 million, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to get $50 million. Always look at guaranteed money, but also you have to factor in this after a couple of years, or in Dante Fowler's case, after a single season. These contracts can always be restructured, and sometimes they're done for the good of the team. That's what happened here with Fowler in Atlanta.
I definitely thought it was a good move here. Hopefully Atlanta can get a little bit more value. Burnin' Spades, Super Chat, appreciate you. Atlanta looks to free agency for wide receiver help who they can afford and draft Pitts and trade back, draft Mond. That's a lot going on there, Burnin' Spades. So in terms of drafting Kellen Mond, that's a hard no for me. Draft Kyle Pitts at pick number 4, definitely an option. They need a tight end, but if you're Atlanta, you either take a quarterback. I agree with you trade back because they have so many needs on defense or on offensive line. Wilbert Warren, if both Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Mac Jones are on the board at 4, who should Atlanta draft? Honestly, man, I'd probably go Trey Lance because he's got the most upside, and I think he's going to be better than Fields and Mac Jones. So which NFL team has the best jerseys? Growing up as a kid, I did actually like the Broncos orange jerseys, I'll be honest with you. but I don't know if they have the best jerseys in the NFL. I know the Chargers absolutely love their jerseys. The Raiders have great jerseys as well. The Saints color rush jerseys are phenomenal. I know some people will disagree with me here at Chat Sports. I love the Cowboys star on the shoulder jerseys that they wear on Thanksgiving. I think they're like top notch. Chicago, their orange jerseys, they're pretty fly as well. Miami from John. I got a 49ers from Ethan. Seahawks, they got some pretty sweet jerseys as well. All right, Burn and Spades, Super Chat time coming in here, and we got 420 likes. Let's get that a little bit higher. I'd appreciate it. We got Atlanta trade back to 6-10. Take Pitts to pair with Hayden. If they don't take Pitts, what's the best option? Thanks for the Falcons channel and FAB. Yes, the Falcons channel is up and coming. It's getting close to 1,200 subs. If you haven't already subscribed to it, please do. YouTube.com/FalconsTV. All right, so trade back to 6-10 and take Kyle Pitts. If you can trade back and get Kyle Pitts, I am for it. I think he is up there with Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith in terms of overall playmakers. But his tight end still, like, you still have at least, Hurst, right? Like, and you gave up a second-round pick for him. You have Julio Jones. You have Calvin Ridley. So you technically have three options. I'm not saying you don't get a running back. But if I'm Atlanta, it's cornerback. Like, if I drop back to 6-10, maybe a guy like, I don't know, Caleb Farley, maybe Patrick Surtain. Maybe you try to build the offensive line up a little bit more. I mean, there's obviously a lot of different ways. Edge rusher. I don't think Kyle Pitts is the way that I would go if I was Atlanta. All right, let's go to this next question here on NFL Daily. It's actually a super chat from one of the best guys we got on the show, big-time Falcons fan, Burnin' Spades. Sorry I'm late to the show, guys. Anytime somebody says sorry I'm late, my heart does drop. Any updates for the Falcons' defensive depth? Shout out Chat Sports. What do you think? Any updates for the Falcons' defensive depth? I don't think that they've made anything. The only move that they've made in free agency is trading for Lee Smith for a 7th-round pick. He was a tight end.
Love the passion, Burnin' Spades, because the last few days you've asked us about Falcons' defensive depth and their cap situation. Unfortunately, they've been cap-strapped. They had to restructure Matt Ryan's contract. They had to restructure Dante Fowler's contract to free up a little bit of space. Yeah, they haven't done a ton.
So, they actually signed linebacker Brandon Copeland.
Okay,
so
that's a solid sign.
That actually happened right before we went live here on today's show. So a little bit of extra depth, but ultimately not a big-time signing. Let's go to Springer SZN. All right, thoughts, great spelling, by the way, about Atlanta signing Erik Harris. So the Atlanta Falcons, they brought in former Raiders safety Erik Harris, and I think the biggest reason why they ultimately did this was pretty simple. They let go of Ricardo Allen to save some money. They're also more than likely not going to bring back Keanu O'Neal, who was also one of the better strong safeties in football. Erik Harris is coming off pretty rough year for the Las Vegas Raiders, but he's pretty solid against the run. That's at least what you're ultimately going to hope for. The other thing that Harris is great at is special teams play, and again, this is one of those players that he's not a household name. He's not really going to be great in coverage, but he was a captain for the Raiders. He was very respected by Las Vegas, so they brought him in for a 1-year, $3.5 million deal.
So the Falcons have the 5th or 6th least cap space in the league right now. So they can't really afford anybody. That's why Atlanta's been so silent. I said this yesterday. I don't think the Falcons are as bad as they've been in previous years. I think it just came down to terrible coaching. I definitely think that they have a coaching upgrade in Arthur Smith. I think offensively, Matt Ryan has struggled the last couple of years since Kyle Shanahan has left, and Dan Quinn was a defensive mind. So the offensive coaching just wasn't good. Head coaching was terrible. Situational awareness terrible. Remember, Mitch, how many games last year the Falcons blew where they were up in the first half of the season? So the talent is there. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of money to spend right now, but I do think that the Falcons next year could be one of the surprise teams in the league.
So we got a $10 super coming in here from Burnin' Spades. Thoughts on Bears trading Khalil Mack, 1st and a 2nd rounder this year. For Falcons 4th overall. So basically, Mack a 1st and a 2nd for the Falcons 4th.
The only reason that the Falcons do this is if they think that they can compete for a Super Bowl this year. Because other than that, there's no reason why the Falcons would make this trade, because Khalil Mack is in his 30s, and the 4th overall pick, that's a really valuable asset. I think the Falcons are in play for potentially trying to get the predecessor for Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
I think that's in play.